He comes from a lineage of great sages, yogis, and saints from India. He began his spiritual journey at the age of 7 and was fully realized by the age of 14. During this time, he delved into different practices and acquired mastery over Tantra, Mantra, Yantra, Aghori practices, and Yaksha sadhana. He was a siddha, and many masters, saints, and sages used to visit him in solitude to gain wisdom and guidance from him since the tender age. Although he has been helping humanity since childhood, he never disclosed this part of him to the world, and only the advanced yogis and masters were aware of his divine presence. Only in the last 2 years he chose few people from the world and started guiding them in their spiritual paths, and those who have been closely associated with him have witnessed many miracles in his presence. Despite being a family person, he is a yogi and intends to help people entangled in this world achieve Jivan Mukti, liberation while being alive. He is truly in the world but not of the world, and if you really want to understand him, look him beyond his physical appearance and just sit with him and you will never be the same again. In his presence you will transcend your body and mind and experience the state of Sat, absolute truth, Chit, pure consciousness, Ananda, eternal bliss. Let us fold our hands in front of his divinity and with a heart filled with gratitude and love welcome our spiritual guru, the realized soul, and our enlightened master, Guru Meenakshi Mishra.
ॐ अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तयेन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। तस्मै श्री सदाशिवाय नमः। तस्मै श्री महादेवाय नमः। ॐ पृथ्वी शान्ति अंतरिक्ष शान्ति सर्वं शान्तिः। अहं ब्रह्मास्मि। Good morning everyone, and good evening to the people from the other part of the world. So here we are with another session, and while during this Guru Purnima celebrations and all those things going on, and now when I was thinking like where to begin again, and then I was in a space where I was thinking of what actually shaped us the way we are. We all carry one way of life. We all have a story running in our heads that run our lives. And when I started thinking like what would have contributed to even give you a direction in your life when you are a kid, when you are a child. And by the way, how many of you were lucky enough to live or listen stories from your grandparents, and you had even the opportunity to go to their villages and stay there, and I still remember that in my childhood I used to go, although I don't have my own village anywhere, but we used to go to my grandmother's sisters' villages and all those things. And I still remember like that good in that matka, like that in that pot, the jaggery that used to come, and only roti. And I still remember that tastes much better than the delicacies that we have right now available with us. Uh, uh, so I still remember that place when early morning we used to listen to the sound of the train and run towards the pond. And I used to carry that one single coin, which I used to put on the train track to see what happens to that coin. And once the train passes over, you know that one small little coin became big, and he used to say that sea magic. Uh, that was truly a blissful state. And even that early morning when the cow herds take the cow and it starts, that wind blows and even the soil is spread, and that smell of that soil, it cannot be compensated with any of the costliest perfumes that you can ever use. And you were just so carefree in that moment, right? You just climbed a tree and you became the tallest person in the world. You tied a towel on your back and you became Superman. And then you used to take a tire and a stick and beat it around, and you feel like you are driving the most costliest car in this world. And of course, the beating ups that you got because of your good deeds, bad deeds. I still remember I was beaten up hugely because somebody gave me 20 paise. Me and my younger sister went to a pawn shop. And we enjoyed the pan, but by the time we were returning, we saw that somebody was standing there. What are you eating? Can you hide pan? You see. Nothing. What is there in the mouth? And in that moment, something, you could not hold it, so the red color flew. Ah, so you have started eating pan at this age. Come on inside, let's give you some other things also. So the other ingredients were added for a long time. I was still smart enough, I believe, at that time also, and oh, sorry, I'm not going to do this any again, ever. So left off. But my younger sister was still there, and she would not speak anything. The more and more the sticks used to hit her, she looks at no sound, nothing. Only tears will be rolling, no sound, nothing, until that stick broke. But that's what we were. And many times, how many of you have been saved by your grandparents? कितने पिटाई से बचा दिए थे, right? So when I was thinking like what should be passed on, I said, okay, so we have been talking about very, very tough situations or tough things in spirituality as well. What about the innocence of spirituality? Because we know, like, when a plant is growing, if you put a stick with that in a certain direction, it will start growing there. If you push it, if you implant the plant and push it to the other side, it will slowly grow to another direction. Yes or no? So I believe like all these people in our lives that we call as grandparents or some relatives or might be our well-wishers or some people, those who shaped us the way we are. So I thought like there must have been something that actually pushed us to the way we are right now. The stories, the talks, the thought processes, whatever they implanted in this, that have made us what we are today. Even if we have moved into the path of spirituality, it was the grace of some of our ancestors, those who have actually gave us this path. Do you agree? Is it? आपके अंदर अगर थोड़ा सा भी धर्म बाकी है तो कहीं ना कहीं उनके तरफ से है. So I was thinking like what were the things that actually shaped me in certain way. And I then remembered that I never spoke about my grandfather much. but he had roles to play. And when I sat down, I could relate to certain spaces and certain celebrations. Like in your life, you remember particular aspects of your life. किसी को अपना जन्मदिन याद रहता है, किसी को कोई पूजा याद रहता है, किसी को किसी की शादी याद रहती है, like, and all those things, like some function or something that you might have gone, and there you remember what has happened, right? And I still remember one funny thing, that there was our house was like, like if you have visited, our house was like a open to all. The doors were never closed, so people used to go and come also. That's the house that I lived. So there was no stranger for us. We didn't know who is walking through. So our house connects to both the sides of the roads. There are two roads on two sides. So people, even if they have to go to the river, they thought, why to take a reroute? Let's enter through this and go there. And I have seen that people doing it. So that's where I came to a living where I didn't had much of a able to differentiate between who is our family person and who is not. So that kind of house, if you come up, you automatically you become friendly with everyone, I believe. Right. So then I was thinking, like, what were the things that the grandfather, because I remember he teaching me things in a very, very simple and subtle ways. And when I sat down to remember what all can actually might have shaped me, and you think like all these things that I'm going to tell you now is between age 6 and 7 and 7.5 kind of thing. And these must have been the points which actually pushed me to that realm, I believe. So I'm going to share those magic with you. And I could relate and remember at least 10 of those things. And that's why you might have seen, I've written the topic as JJ ki kahaniyan. In Vrindavan, they call Krishna as JJ and the gurus as JJ as well. But in our case, the father, my father's father is called as JJ. So we call him as JJ. So my favorite person out there was, like, I used to roam around with him a lot. So because I still remember, if I go with my father, I will be silent. And if I go with my grandfather, I will be all playful. So he didn't restrict me in anything. He used to go, "Okay." I said, oh, I want to climb that tree. Yeah, go climb, what happens? And in that way also, I fell at one, two places. He says, what happened in that also? And I still remember he actually was the one who taught me to start the Dand Baitak and all those things. At what age? At 6 and 7, I started doing that. And at times I think, oh, that's why height might have gone. And in schools, you do some errors or you have not done the homework, then the teachers ask you to do the कान पकड़ के उठक बैठक करने के लिए बोलता है ना. It was favorite for me. I didn't like it, but it didn't hurt me anyways. The teacher used to say, what's happening to this fellow? He's doing it for the whole class and he's still laughing. He didn't knew I used to practice that every single morning. It was an exercise for me. So whenever the teacher asked me to do that, it was becoming like, oh, one more round of exercise today, extra. So that's how my childhood was in when I'm not talking about spirituality. A very, very simple, common person to the world, when they look at you, they say like, oh, ना क्यूट बच्चा है, सब कुछ कर लेता है सिर्फ पढ़ाई करने के अलावा. I was very people have to push me actually to study. That's how I was. So the 10 stories that I could relate or I could remember with particular situations, because when you remember the situations, you remember the stories. So I have jotted down 10 of such things. I believe, like, might be the wisdom stories that came from my JJ, the grandfather I call, right? And that's why the topic again came as before I was a guru, I was a grandson. Everybody of us, before what we are now, we were something else. And remembering to that person today, like who gave me that wisdom, might be these stories might relate to you. These stories might be a reminder to you. These stories might be good stories to tell to your next generations. And rather than stories, these are instances that happened and incidents that took place. And like when you have to listen to stories, you have to become like a child, right? And when you become like a child and you start listening to that, yes, the stories are a single liner stories kind of thing. It is a very simple things, yet if you listen to it carefully, you will understand the depth. Because as at that time I was thinking like, oh, what is this? Okay, might be a small little story, a one liner, might be a hidayat dena kehte hain na aapko, they teach you in certain ways. But now when I remember that it was nothing less than satori. Satori means like, like the moments of eureka moments. It was the moment of awakening, the moments, the things that could really make you think what I'm doing here, right, in this space. And if those kind of thoughts are implanted in the young minds, I believe that changes everything for us. Because anyways you will grow, anyways you will achieve something in your life. But achieving all these things in a good way, that's how the stories will play a role in our lives. And might be listen to it carefully and pass it on to your next generations, to the small little kids, or to the time when you become grandparents. And if you are a grandparent, why not tell the stories again then? Right? So are you ready to dive into my childhood stories that actually shaped up or changed this child into what it has become today? Shall we begin the journey? Rajanji? Let's begin. So let me see. You have to give me time because I have to recall certain things and tell you. It is not like so where to start. So there have been many instances, as I said, no, like one particular instance I can start with, like okay. So let me tell you the story of a clay diya. आप जानते हो ना जो दिया जलाते हो ना मिट्टी का. That's where I can recall, like that was the most humble beginning of, might be I could recall, as far as I could recall, that would have been the first story that was related to a clay diya. मिट्टी का जो दिया आता है ना. And I used to always find him quite filled with wisdom and filled with knowledge. So any queries that I used to have, I used to speak to him, and as you know, like he allowed me to do anything, so I didn't had any doubts or any thoughts even asking questions to him. So, and my questions would be typical at times, might be within, which kid talks all these things? Which kid asks these questions? Or you might say, oh, that's me also. So either ways, it's going to be wonderful. So that clay diya, what I remember is, I used to look at the diyas and I see like the wind blows, but the diya still, it does not goes off. It says, and that question comes to me, why does the lamp burn even in the wind? हवा चल रही है लेकिन उसमें दिया कैसे जल रहा है? And when I came to ask these questions, he taught me something about my inner discipline. And you see, how do we start anything in your life? It should be an inner discipline within you, right? And when I was saying, okay, why it's shaking, but it's still burning. What could be the reason behind that? And his ways of teaching now, you see how beautifully I will try to narrate where I was sitting so that you can absolutely picturize and imagine as far as possible. So this was actually during Diwali. It was just before the evening time, and you remember, like in your childhood, in the Diwali evening, you used to put the diya everywhere. We still do that. More of lights now rather than diyas that we put. But और कुछ था ही नहीं, तो we used to wet the diyas and dry them up and then wick and oil. So everything was ready and I was going to put the diyas. And as child and as children, we were more excited even doing the simplest of the things. Now the complex of the things that does not give us that happiness that we used to get with these simple things. And so I was like, it was, as I said, it was Diwali. And, everywhere people were doing the same thing, like lighting up the diyas and candles. Um, and you remember, like, I don't know, like the weather has changed now, but in my childhood, if Diwali comes towards end of October or beginning of November, the wind would be like carry a little bit of a tinge of that chill, and thoda thanda lagne lagta hai tab tak, and the sacred silence that you would hear in that air. Because why I say is the sacred silence is because beyond that, people will start playing with the crackers and all the noise will be there. So just before the crackers would have started and you are just lighting up the diya, that silence, that's what I'm saying of, is a divine silence that you can connect to. So even in that space, as we were actually, that time I was not in my home. So I went to a village. I still could not recall what was the function at that time, but we were in a village for a function and we were sitting in a veranda. And that veranda was looking like, in front of the veranda, there was a pond. वो आजकल और नहीं मिलने लगते, आजकल स्विमिंग पूल ही मिल सकते हैं. But there was a pond at that time, and when I was sitting there, and like the pond, and there was mango trees, and as the darkness was starting to, that वो कहते हैं ना जुगनू, that fire वो flies, they were just blinking all around, and it's like I just imagine like I had a camera at that time. And if you really listen to it, it would feel like the trees are whispering to each other and the wind is talking to them, and the leaves are reacting to what the wind is speaking, and the wind must have been speaking so beautifully that the leaves shiver and the leaves danced, and the leaves would make some kind of noise as if they have come in tune with the sound of the wind, and they start singing. Have you heard all those songs? Yes, you would have. If you would have listened to them, you would have heard that songs. And we still long to get that, right? So in this hustle of this world, we are missing out on that. But yes, it was evening, so I was young and I was impatient, and I was struggling to light a small clay lamp as the breeze was blowing, and it was like toying, it was like playing with my efforts. Because as much as I was trying to light up the diya, the more and more it was going off. So although the leaves were dancing to the same tune of the breeze of the air, I was agitated because it was not allowing me to put on the diya. So, as a kid, you become frustrated in a different way, not the way we get frustrated nowadays. But I was frustrated as I said, oh, why doesn't this just stay burning, JJ? Because he was by my side, and I said, why is just blowing off? Why it's not just staying lit? Why is it not just burning? And I remember like he was watching me, and he was sitting like a rock. His eyes was as calm as the full moon. I could say in that way. And he said, because discipline is the shelter of the flame. Without a steady hand and a still mind, even the brightest of the wick will flicker out. That was his words. And that's what I could recall. I could put that into in an English sentence in a much better way, I believe. But the meaning that I could get out of it was similarly in that way. You would say like, you have to have that calmness within you. And then he asked me to try. He said, you have to be steady. Your hand has to be still. Your mind has to be still. Because without that, anything will go off. So he asked me to try again. He said, try again this time. But this time I said, okay, so I understood you want my hands not to just waver up and I should be having focus on that. He said, exactly, go ahead. And in that moment, I took a deep breath and I slowed down. And what I saw is that lamp stayed. Then I looked at him and I said, what was that? He said, it is good that you could understand what I said and the lamp could be burnt. But let me tell you something that you should remember in your life. I said, what? He said, don't just light the lamp, become the lamp instead. So सिर्फ और सिर्फ तू वो दिया मत जला, तू वो खुद वो दिया बन जा. And who tells all these things to a 6-year-old kid? Just think of. But when he said that, like when he was saying that, I could not understand what do you mean by become a lampstand and become that diya. Then JJ only smiled. And he said, your spiritual journey begins when you understand that discipline is the shelter of the flame. And he said, you can chant mantras. And chanting should not be a habit. Chanting should be like a protection. And without the shelter, the inner flame will flicker and die. And when he was saying all these things as a child, I could not understand anything out of it. Yet I know what he was saying was going to pass into me in a much, much, much better way. So what he was trying to pass on within me is, when you chant a mantra, when you do a ritual, it's kind of a protection that protects the faith and belief that you have created on the divinity. And when you chant that, because once you take away that protection, once you leave doing the chantings, once you leave doing the rituals, because the world Maya will again come up. It's just like the wind coming. And if you cannot put it with that, like you remember in that lamp, we used to have a glass on which you put the glass and the fire is safe in that. And he says, this is what you should do. Your chantings, you should not stop that. Your puja, you should not stop that, because that will become the mainstream source of protection for that divine fire that is burning within you. Always remember that. Keep your protection on. And then that night, when he said all this and he made me understand, that night, he did not just teach me about fire. He taught me a secret mantra of meditation, of life itself. And you know what that was? Presence. That means when you are present to what you are doing, when you are aware what you are doing, you will do it in a much better way. And yes, of course, he taught me how to be present and safeguard what you are doing in that moment. And in this space, it's just a simple thing for anyone. But for me, if I sit there and I have to ask a question to you, let me ask, like, the question would go this way. He taught me like how to safeguard that. I would ask you, what is the shelter you have built for your inner flame? Have you built something that actually safeguards the inner flame, that does not allows it to blow off? It does not allow it to go off. And at the same time, there would be a very tough question to be asked. At times, we just sit and do the mala, we keep on doing the chanting without even knowing. Have we confused spiritual routine with the real inner discipline? It's not only about waking up in the morning and doing the mala. It's not only about chanting the names again and again and again. Are you aware of what you are doing? Because when you are chanting, when you are doing all these things, do you remember the God within you? Is the fire still burning within you? Can you see that flame? If that is the case, safeguard that. Safeguard with your rituals, safeguard it with your processes, safeguard it with the mantras. But more than that, be present to what you are doing. And may that light always burn within you. So I could remember this would be the first lesson that I could remember. And I believe like anything that you begin, it should begin with something that you call as a discipline and wakefulness. And so that was the first lesson that I could remember that JJ would tell me, but it has played a huge role in my life. Then the second thing that would have happened is like, and many of you could relate to this. I call it because what he said, he used something to tell me or narrate a story. He always had the props to speak of. So that day, the prop that was used was I don't know, like what you call it. It's a drum. It's not a musical drum, but it's a drum, like in which you keep. I still remember that. डालडा का एक डब्बा आता था, याद है आपको? That was a yellow color box, and on that there would be a one palm tree, green color. और उसके ऊपर लिखा रहेगा डालडा, right? Oh, so good. I thought like that only was available in my childhood and in my area. So if so, like, so many people nodding, I believe Dalda was quite famous at that time. And that the covering of that was also green, right? So you are still a child within. You still remember your childhood anyways, isn't it? So that was, I still remember that there was a Dalda box without that cover in that. Okay. So it was just there, and I was, that's why I call it as the silent drum. And what he taught me on that was like the call to the inner listening. That's how I can put that, what he taught on me. We can say it in this way. When the outer world is noisy, silence becomes louder if you know how to. So that day he taught me how to listen to the silence. It was like rainy season. It was mid monsoon and it was afternoon time. Like we didn't had all the pakka houses at that time, and there was thatched straw houses also. And we all know like how it was like. So it was mid and it was in the afternoon time, and there was a thunderstorm going on. And the entire locality was like thundered and as lightning cracked across the sky. In that moment, the monsoon was in full roar, and I sat on a wooden cot. Yeah, it was a wooden cot. It was not that rope cot. It was a wooden cot. Wooden cot with JJ, and heart was restless with questions, storming louder than the weather that was happening outside. And you know what was storming me? He used to take me to the temple, like every day sit here, do the puja and all those things. And every day I would look at the goddess in our house, and I used to say, okay, when are you going to talk to me? So that was the question that was going on within me, because that morning itself I was sitting and I was thinking, when I'm going to hear you, are you even listening what I'm saying, kind of thing. So that was the question that was rumbling. And at times that question is so loud within us that all the sounds outside actually disappear. And then he looked at me and says, what's going on? And I said, can you tell me one thing? Why can't I hear the God? Why is he silent? Am I not the chosen one? Now think of a 6-year-old asking all these dramatic questions to his dramatic JJ. Yeah, he was dramatic because he was a very, very well-known Odissi dancer as well at that time. So few of the dance moves, if you see me trying, it was because of him. So that was the way he was. So he actually, when I asked like, Why can't I hear all these sounds? Like you keep on saying that God speaks and all those things, your wisdom and your all knowledge with your all white hair and all white beard. What about me? Shall I wait for this to even grow whiter? Then only it will talk to me. As a child, I thought like only God speaks to those who have those white hairs. And so in that moment, without a word, he just reached out and he brought out that dalda box. Uh, then he just handed me that drum to me and asked me to listen to what is there inside. He didn't said me that look what is inside. He said listen to it what is inside. If you have ever tried to listen to some empty box or something, if you put it like this, what do you hear? Nothing. It's just vacant, right? It's just vacuum, and there is no noise in that. And when he asked, what did you hear? I said, will God start speaking through this drum or what? Because he's saying like, listen to that. And when I was trying to listen to that more closely, there was nothing. And I said, have I even lost this quality that even I could not hear a drum, let alone listening to God? And that very moment when I was trying to listen, he could see like my dilemma that I was going through. Then he asked, what do you hear? He said, nothing I could hear. Then I tried to tap it to see, he might be want me to tap it and listen to the sound. So I started tapping. So when you tap it, there is a sound out, obviously there, right? He said, no, no, I don't want you to tap it anyways. I said, then what? No, just listen to that. I said, what to listen? There is nothing, no sound, just hollow. And he smiled and he said, exactly. The divine calls not with words, but with silence. Only when you become as empty as the drum will you hear that which cannot be spoken. जब तू उस डब्बे खाली हो जाएगा, when you become empty like that drum. Just a second now. Yeah, so there was an issue with the mic. Is it okay now? So he said like, if only you become as empty as that drum, silence will fill within you, because the divine does not uses words to speak to you, it uses silence. So how beautifully he actually taught me how to listen to the divine, not with the noise, but with the soundless space. And the thunder outside that was roaring at that time now started feeling like a lullaby to me, like a song to me. Because at that moment I could grasp what he said. I said, oh, so I should not be busy with that noise. I have to be silent. And in that moment, the roaring of the sound of the thunder and the wind blowing and the rain dropping, it all felt like some song being played for me. And I just sat there. And then that drum was like a mirror for me. And I said, as the drum is still, unmoving, without any noise, let me try what happens. And that very moment, I could hear the loudest voice of God in that stillness. Because for the first time, I understood He speaks in silence, not in sounds, not in words. Now, how about you? Do you have a drum that would remind this to you? And then, if I ask you this question, how often do we all seek God in words in some signs, in some answers, but never in silence. उसको हर चीज में ढूंढने की कोशिश करते हैं, निशब्दता में ढूंढना भूल चुके हैं. And what if you just sit silently on that, in your own space, and you just listen to that silence? But that would need a little bit of work on our part. Are you prepared to become empty? Empty enough to hear the unstruck sound. That was how I learned how to hear the anahatanad, the unstruck sound. A drum of dalda can lead you to enlightenment if you have a guide who knows how to use it and channelize that in the right possible way. Isn't it, Vijay Kumarji? So we are lucky enough that we have those kind of people in our life. We had those kind of people in our life. And why can't we all be that? Someday, your grandchildren would say that, oh, my tata used to say this. And how would that be? And that's how the wisdom has passed on from generation, and that would continue to pass, right? Then there comes one more thing that I started learning all these things and I used to give ज्ञान. क्या होता है? अब ज्ञान देना शुरू करते हो कैसे भी, राइट? जैसे ही थोड़ा कुछ मिल जाता है, थोड़ा, even the smallest, and children, like you saw one magic and you replicate that and you call everybody to show your magic. So I was thinking like I was filled with knowledge now. So I used to pull around all my all the friends that you, hey, sit here. Now let me tell you what I have heard, what I have learned from JJ today. Sometimes some mischievous kid would ask a question. What would you do? You only have the half-baked knowledge. You only know one way of going. If somebody takes you to the upper level or the lower level, you don't have any answers left. So that's what I call it as the half-baked knowledge that I used to have at that time. So I could say in this way that when I used to do that, he used to look at me and he used to laugh. He did not said anything anytime. But as I said, no, he might be waiting for the right moment to give me the right kind of wisdom, I believe. So it was like one day he took me to the river Karjodi, like one day, every day we used to go there anyways. But I remember that one particular day. The river, you remember? The river that flows behind my home. So he took me there one day. He says, Chal, let's go. My favorite spot, because if I go into the river, I won't come out of like 3-4 hours. I am there only. So he said, Chal. Okay, I said, let's go. And yeah, he was the one who taught me swimming. How? He used to drown me. He said, if you don't understand the pain of drowning, you will never understand the sweetness of swimming. If you don't understand the pain of drowning, you never understand the happiness that you get while you swim. Won't it that a great knowledge, even if you just look at that again? अगर हम जीवन की गहराई में नहीं उतरेंगे ना, तो हम अपनी जीवन की ऊंचाई को समझ नहीं पाएंगे. जब तक हम निशब्दता में नहीं उतरेंगे ना, तो हम शब्द की महानता को नहीं समझ पाएंगे. जब तक हम अपने आप को नहीं जान पाएंगे, तब तक उस दिव्यता को भी नहीं पहचान पाएंगे. Is it not the same things? But that day he asked me, sir, chal, let's go. So it was like the bank of river Karjod. Yeah, I remember why he took on that day. It was Kartik Purnima. And Kartik Purnima was his birthday. So that day he used to wear a particular, I only see him wearing that dress once every year. He used to have a pink magenta kind of thing, like pinkish kind of silk dhoti. And he used to wear that every Kartik Purnima only. I used to wonder why this special day for, like, he used to say, this is my birthday, that's why I wear this. And now in our birthdays, we wear at least 7, 8 clothes. But every year he used to wash it up, iron it up, keep it, and only wear it on that day. And he was wearing that on, I still remember it very clearly. Because he took me to the river and he says, Chal, let's see what's happening there. And of course, how many of you have taken that paper boats and that boats made of that, what you say, thermocol and all those things? You go and do all that, right? I remember what I did. You remember like the half-baked knowledge? जब आप बहुत ज्ञानी लगते हो. Everybody has their own ways to decorate their boats. We love to decorate their boats. You know what I did? I used mantras on that. ज्ञानी लगना चाहिए ना. मतलब your boat should look something different because you are knowledgeable than any other fellow out there. See, that's what that was me. So I actually took that boat and I used banana leaves to decorate it. And even with that red ink, you remember, like, which actually falls more on you rather than on the paper. वो वही कलम है जिसमें आप इंक भरते भरते आप लाल हो जाओगे, वो पेपर तक आते आते चलेगा नहीं. So that kind of pen I still remember. और उसको लेके मैंने उसको क्या किया, मंत्र लिखे, उसके ऊपर चंदन लेके डिजाइन किए, सिंदूर लगाए. Means my boat should look completely different from everyone. While others were decorating with bindis and chumki, like with stones, I wrote, this is a spiritual boat. No, people should know like whom they are looking at, right? So that's how I did. I wrote all these things and I carried that. And when we reached that place, because just behind my home, so everybody was like thousands of boats were already floating, and diyas were burning, and the riverbed were decorated with the diyas and a lot of things in that space. So, and as I said, I had built my own raft, decorated with incense. हाँ, उसमें मैंने थोड़ा भस्म भी डाला था. किसी ने कहा था कि भस्म शिव लगाते हैं, तो मैंने कहा भस्म भी डाला हो तो उसके ऊपर. So all these arrangements were done. And turmeric was there, and I put a rudraksh bead also. एक रुद्राक्ष बीड बीच में लगा दिया था. एंड आई डोंट नो लाइक वेदर यू कैन इमेजिन दैट और नॉट. It was looking like as if Shiva would sit in that and go. That kind of boat was decorated. And what mantra I wrote, I don't remember. कुछ तो लिखा रहूंगा, but I remember that I wrote a mantra. So that was my boat. And he took me near the riverbed and he said, now you float it. And I was, you remember how you feel when your boat looks different? How when you look different? I was holding it. Hi, hello, hi. Hey, how's your boat? Oh, my boat. Can you see my boat? You flaunt it, right? Just like a new car. Oh, you know, like my car. And that was, do you see, like, hey, tera boat. And you know, your friends would also come, ye kya banaya hai? Hey, chal bhag yahan se. Like that kind of thing, right? So he knew what I was doing. He says, okay, go ahead, put it first. And so he said, like, put it into the river and see. And I placed it in the river with a lot of pride. And I didn't wanted to let it go actually, because my boat, everybody should see, right? I wanted more and more people should see what I did. And people were coming and going, so I wanted to look there. And he said, okay, put it there. And he understood what I was doing. He said, okay, no more people are coming, don't worry. So the very moment, what did I do? There was a current, right? Water current is going. And so I put there and I turned around to look around like any other people are looking at that or not. More people are coming or not. He says, look, behind, there are a lot many people coming to see your boat. And I turned around. And by the time I turned around, what would happen to your boat? The boat moved away with the वो नदी के धारा के साथ बह गया. And the moment I was like, oh, come on, I want to show you a boat from far off distance. I turn around, the boat is gone. What would you do? And when I turned around, I saw that the boat has already drifted away. And actually, I have forgotten to hold it or put it somewhere it won't go away. I just stood helpless, watching it disappear into the thousands of the boats that were still floating in this river. And that moment, JJ walked up to me and said, Manas, even a golden boat drifts away without a rope. You know the rituals, but have you anchored it with awareness? ज्ञान तो तुझ में है, तू तो ये सब करता है, but have you anchored it? Have you kept a hold to that? क्या उसे सही जगह पे जोड़ के रखा है तूने? And that he said, you study books, you wear even Rudraksh Mala, you even recite mantras, yet you forgot the most basic thing, anchoring the mind. Without dharana, even the most powerful boat drifts into illusion. उस दिन उन्होंने मुझे सिखाया कि धारणा क्या होती है. Because if you don't sit quietly, if you don't have a control on your mind, that mind will take you, drift you in their thoughts. You might be happy in a moment doing what you are doing, but the very next moment it makes you go crazy. You are so taken away by that. This very moment you are so ecstatic, the very next moment you lose it. You are chanting a mantra, you are ecstatic. You are doing the meditation, you are there. You feel so good. You are feeding your God and you say, wow, what a beautiful life. The very moment you are stepping out, what is happening? It is because you have not anchored it into the right place. And he was telling me the same thing. He says, don't just give away the half-baked knowledge. First and foremost thing, learn it, anchor it. Then only you can pass it on. And when I heard that, I might have told you, na, like in my life has been very benevolent towards me. When I say benevolent, you know why I say benevolent? It's not because of all the good things that it supported me with. I'm not thankful for life for all the comforts that I have in my life. I am thankful to life because of the slaps that it gave me. वो सही समय पे ऐसा थप्पड़ मारा है कि वो सही रास्ते पे लेके आया है. So that's how I say, not the comfort of life. I'm not just thankful for the comfort of the life, but I am more thankful for the slaps that I got. That kept me in alignment. That kept me in this path. So when he asked this question and when he said all these things to me, that very moment, he just said one thing. He said, the ego that you build the boat with, nothing wrong. Even if you have built that boat with ego, remember, my child, only the ego can build golden boats. But the one who knows, or the one who is a seeker of the divine, it will always tie it with the divinity. Even what all you have achieved in your life, the ego might have helped you to achieve what you have achieved. But always remember to tie that, because you are a seeker, and the seeker will always tie that boat to the divine. When I heard that, I just sat down on that sand. Because that morning, when there's thousands of people were still on the riverbed, I just sat there silently. I just closed my eyes. And I still remember on that day, I did not chant any mantra. I did not took any name of any god on that day. I just focused on my breath and I anchored that to the present moment. And for the first time, I did not felt the river flowing outside. I felt the river flowing within me. And that was so amazing in that space. For the first time I heard, the first time I understood that I should always be connected to the divine, or else this boat will drift away. But have you ever built a spiritual identity, but you have left your mind unanchored? Because what good is divine knowledge if it is not filled with humility? कभी कभी हम भी वैसे ही करते हैं ना. But always remember, my friends, what the old man taught me. No have big knowledge, dharana. Learn how to still your mind, or else your mind will steal you. So that was another story that came along. Then what would be the third one? Yeah. So it was Kartik Purnima. Okay. Oh, so it was near that only. Yeah. So it was like Navratra ka samay tha. Dashera. So during Dashera, me, my father and grandfather, we all went to a nearby mountain that was a Shiva temple. Many a times I might have even shared a picture or might have done a video call from that place. That's just nearby my house, like few kilometers, 8 to 10 kilometers away from the home. And many people actually visited that also during the last trip that they had during Imon's third ceremony. So there was like small little cave. Now a lot of modernization has happened there, but it was like a small little cave. And during Navratra, we used to go there and we used to sit and chant the mantras and all those things. So it was, no, it was not Dashera. It was Chaitra Navratra. Yeah, it was Chaitra Navratra, not Dashera, because Dashera used to be at the temple itself. So in that place where we were there, no, inside the cave, there used to be one single bulb light, but for somehow the light has gone. The current was, there was a cutout and there was no current available in that space for a long, long time. So what happened is that current cutout was there for almost hours and it was already evening. And inside that small little dark house or a small little cave, whatever you can call it, the cave was converted kind of a house in that place where we were sitting and waiting for the current to come. And in that moment, no one was speaking. So the silence was like a thick silence, I can call that. And because it was a place where people used to worship, it smelled like the incense sticks and the chandan that people used to put there. So that smell was very, very clear to me. We waited for hours, but my mind was wild and I burst out. Because it was dark, I asked, I see nothing here. JJ, it's all darkness. What should we do? And then I could still feel, I could not see in the darkness, but I feel like he did not open his eyes because he was sitting quite close with his eyes. You know what he did? He simply hit me on the head and said, "Look within. The darkness is within, not outside." सर पे एक लगाते हैं ना बच्चे को, चल, you are worried about the darkness outside? Look within the darkness inside, because it is the darkness within that turmoils you, not the outside one. And I said, what does that mean that? And then he said, just sit quietly and look within. Look at the darkness that is there within you. And that very moment I closed my eyes, and for the first time, I did not saw light within me, but I could see that I can see darkness within me. Did you understood what I said? You closed your eyes, you did not saw any light, but you realize that you can see darkness within you. पहली बार अंदर की अंधकार दिखाई दे रहा था. And that moment, it's like something has changed. Like it's just like I felt like if something behind my eyes have opened. And I could feel like the shadows are dancing in knowing. And I felt like for the first time, what I thought was the room was filled with darkness, and what I thought my inside was filled in darkness. In that moment of silence, I could realize that the room had 1,000 eyes. The only thing was I was not able to see it. And all those 1,000 eyes, in my closed eyes, I could see what all was happening all around me. And that moment, I realized that I have found, not my eyes, I have found a way to look, a way to see, a way to seek. And I could feel like all the 1,000 eyes that are there, that are all mine. And in that moment, he just came closer to my ears when I was thinking all these things in my head. He simply whispered, "You thought you needed light, but what all you needed was the eye to see it. You needed a vision and needed the way to see through darkness." And yes, that has made me realize one thing. Even in our lives today, when you could not see anything else but only darkness, do you really fear the darkness outside or the darkness that is within you? That very moment, remember what he said. You don't need light. You need the eyes to see what's there. That very moment you close your eyes and you become the 1,000 eyes, and the 1,000 eyes will provide a solution, provide a way, provide a path for you. And that was how he actually taught me. And he said in the end, enlightenment is not light, it is a sight. Enlightenment कोई रोशनी नहीं है. It's a realization. It's not a light. It's a sight. Kiska? Whose sight? It's not the sight that you see outside. It's the sight, knowing the art of seeing everything as everything. Without the filter of duality, without the filter of good, bad, ugly, without the filter of anything that you could see outside. The moment you remove that filter, that moment you don't need the light to see. You have the sight to see anything and everything. So that was another wisdom that passed on. But let me ask you this. Do you really want to see with borrowed truths or awaken your inner perception? If you want to develop your inner perception, you are in the path. Don't leave that. Anchor it. Now, if I ask you, what if I ask you this and I just tap you on your head also and say, close your eyes now. Close your eyes. Now listen to it, what I'm going to say to you. With your eyes closed, just listen carefully. What it would mean to you to see the same world through a new eye that has awakened. Now open your eyes, go see the world. Because if you understood what I said, the eyes, the physical eyes will be the same, but the one seeing through it will be someone different. Can you practice this? There's nothing to be done. Just close your eyes and become the 1,000 eyes that looks everything with his eyes closed. अभी भी आप कर सकते हो. You want to try that? Because how long will you only listen to stories? For a moment, close your eyes again. And try to see everything with your eyes closed. And you will be amazed that with your open eyes, you cannot see through a wall, but with your closed eyes, you can pierce through universes. खुली आंखों से शायद एक पर्दे के उस पार ना देख पाओ, लेकिन बंद आंखों से तुम संपूर्ण रचना के परे जा सकते हो, समय के परे जा सकते हो. You can even transcend all the barriers. Now see all that you can see. But realize you are capable enough to see all that. And you don't need an eyes. Because even a blind sees darkness. A blind sees something. What are you seeing with your closed eyes? Now you can open your eyes. Where you actually see more, with your open eyes or with your closed eyes. That's why when you are meditating, you are asked to say, close your eyes and do the meditation. Some people have mastered with open eyes meditations also. But isn't it good? So simple things that can actually awaken your ways of seeing things in a very different way. So that's what I call it as the caves with 1,000 eyes. Then there was one more. It was Guru Purnima. It was the day of Guru Purnima and he took me to a temple. So there was some मतलब कोई सत्संग चल रहा था या तो कोई भजन चल रहा था. So they were celebrating Guru Purnima. I see people celebrating more Teachers' Day rather than Guru Purnima. Because we believe more in teachers rather than gurus anymore. But both are important. So it was like, let me just recall what happened. Give me a second. Yeah. So that day he taught me another lesson. Like I keep on saying the same thing to you and I I can recall from where I got that. I keep on saying, no, like the guru is not just the destination. He is just the disappearance of the things that you need to seek. वो आप जो जो चीजें ढूंढने की कोशिश करते हैं ना, वो वही बस आपके सामने आके खड़ा हो जाता है और कुछ नहीं है वो. So that was a learning that I learned on that Guru Purnima celebration that was happening there. So it was like we went to the temple, and in that hall we were all sitting, and hundreds have gathered on that day. So bhajans was going on, the lamps were burning, the puja chal raha tha, matlab variety of divine smell because of the flowers and the incense sticks and all that going on. As part of the rituals, it is said, no, you should go to your guru, right? So when everybody was trying to go towards that other side, मीन्स जहां पे जो वेद मतलब व्यास गद्दी पे जो बैठे ना, जो सत्संग कर रहे थे, सो एवरीबडी वाज गोइंग डाउन, आई वाज बाय माय साइड ऑफ माय जेजे. सो व्हाइल एवरीबडी वाज गोइंग डाउन दैट साइड, आई बोर्ड दिस साइड. Okay, because he was teaching me everything, right? So rather than bowing like everybody was bowing to the person who was sitting on the stage, I bowed to him, and I don't know why I started crying. And then uh, he just turned around, turned toward this side, and he lifted me up. And you know what he said? He said, do not bow to me for long. Do not bow to me for long, because I am only a mirror. What you seek is not outside. The guru you love in me is a reflection of the dormant guru inside you. And you will realize that the day someone touches your feet. So every time you actually try to touch my feet, I see myself bowing there. And what he said, I also say the same. Don't bow for a long time, because I am just a mirror. You have that divine within you, because the guru that you love in me is also just the reflection of the dormant guru hiding within you. And you know what? When that awakens, you will no longer bow, you will walk. And I think you bow only to me. You bow to me. Let me remember, he told it in a beautiful way. He said, you bow to me only until you begin to see yourself through me. Then the bowing ends. The becoming begins. You know what you were becoming? He just said same thing. He said, the moment you realize what is there within you, you will stop bowing and you start becoming. The guru that you bow down to, you will start becoming that within you. Now, who teaches all these things to a kid? And then, like, from that day, I bowed deeper. मैं झुका और गहराई से झुका, but inward. जो मेरा झुकाव बाहर की तरफ था, वो झुकाव अंदर की तरफ हो गया. The bowing down that was happening outside, it started happening within. And you know what? The day you learn how to bow down to your own self that you are. इसीलिए हम कहते हैं ना कि अरे आप तो आसमान हो, बस सर झुकाए बैठे हो. You are like the sky, but sitting with your head down. But the moment you see your giganticness, what would happen? So let me ask, he said one thing at the final to punch it. He always used like hammer it. He said, don't stay kneeling forever. हमेशा के लिए झुक के मत बैठ जा वो घुटनों पे तू अपने. Don't stay kneeling forever. Become the guru within. अपने अंदर की दिव्यता को पहचान ले. And now, if he had to ask you a question, let me ask you this, what he taught me. My words might be, are you attached to the form of your guru? Or have you become, or have you begun to embody the formless wisdom that he shares with you? What? Are you attached to the form? Or have you begun to embody the formless wisdom he reflects? But let me ask you a very tough question. Will you remain a worshipper, or will you walk the path of light yourself? Because I will not allow you to kneel down forever. And you know why? Because the one who taught me something, he told me, you should not be kneeling forever. Is it the right way of spirituality or not? मुझे लगता है यही सही है. या तो आप लोगों को झुकाओगे या तो रास्ता दिखाओगे. And may someday, when you become something like that, remember my story. इससे पहले कि लोग आपके सामने झुके, आप झुक जाना चाहिए. Before even anybody bows down to you, you should bow down first. How many of you have actually seen before anybody actually comes to the feet also, my hands are already folded and I'm already down? Because that's what he taught me. I just want to say you one thing. People say, why don't you put your hands on our heads? I say, can't you see what I'm trying to do? I don't want to put my hand on your head. I want to bow down to that guru that is hidden within you and you are not able to see it. Is that wrong on my part? क्या कहते हो? Is that bad on my part? Is that an error on my side? No, that's how I am. And I believe like I love the part of me that I am. मैं जैसा हूं वैसा ही मुझे पसंद. I like myself the way I am. And I'm so thankful that these things came so early to me. Or else what would have happened? It would have also drifted away somewhere, right? So what do you say? Will you kneel down? Let me tell you a practical thing. Kneeling down is very tough. स्कूल याद नहीं है जब टीचर घुटनों पे बिठा देते थे और उसके नीचे दो कंकर भी लगा देते थे, बोले ज्ञान ज्यादा जल्दी याद रहे तेरे को. That's how I say, don't kneel down forever. झुकना है तो अंदर झुक जाओ. झुकना है तो उसके तरफ झुक जाओ और ऐसे झुको कि उसके ही हो जाओ. So are these not really, I can say, nuggets of wisdom in such simple ways, how he taught so important lessons of life? Shall I continue? Okay. Then when I started experiencing all these things, like closing my eyes and sit and just listen to the silence and all those things, he gave me one more important lesson. It was in the same house that still exists, and it was one of my favorite days, Shivratri tha. So that's what I said. No, you remember particular days and particular emotions and particular spaces. Because जीवन में तो लाखों चीजें हुई होंगी, बट आई कुड रिमेम्बर ऑल दिस टेंस बिकॉज सो ये बहुत अच्छे से मुझे याद है, बिकॉज इट वॉज शिवरात्रि का सुबह की बात है, लाइक इट वॉज मॉर्निंग ऑफ शिवरात्रि, एंड there are few Shiva temples near my home, and we all can hear the sounds of the bells echoing from a distance. And my mom was cooking some prasad because I wanted to take it to the temple. So she was cooking, she was making kheer actually. And I was also, like small 6-year-old kid running in the kitchen. Imagine yourself running in the kitchen. You also want to participate in doing something, right? You also want to put your hands, I want to do this, I want to do that. Means मैं भी एक वजह हूं, मेरा भी तो कुछ काम होगा. So let me do something. अभी कोई बोले तो 1-2 घंटे के बाद आना रे भाई. But in your childhood, you were more excited to do all that things which we are not finding charm in it doing anymore. So I was like trying to help, and I was running quickly here and there. So I was bringing flowers, putting into a plate. I was bringing fruits, putting into a plate, and was placing that incense sticks and diya and matchbox and everything. I was decorating the thali. Thali ke upar sab kuch raga raha tha. And I was doing with utmost care, not throwing it away. And you know what? I was so proud that how devoted I looked that morning. मतलब छोटा सा बच्चा इतना सब कुछ कर रहा है, शिव के मंदिर जाने के लिए इतना उत्साहित है, उल्लासित है, मतलब क्या लगेगा, मतलब वाओ, क्या कितना ध्यान पूर्वक ये सारा काम कर रहा है, हाउ डेडिकेटेड आई एम टुवर्ड शिवा. That was a feeling going on within me, and I don't know like how he catches me hold of doing all the things wrong and all the things right. He didn't only catch hold of me when I did wrong things, he caught hold of me even when I was doing right things. And he was just standing in the corner and looking at me. And as I handed him the tray that let's go, वो जो थाली में जो सजा था, the moment I gave it to him, he pointed me something out. He said, look there, look there. He pointed out to a silver spoon that I had just used to pour kheer into a small little bowl. Then he says, what about it? Mummy will, anyways, she will clean it up. मुझे लगा उसको धो के रखने के लिए बोल रहे थे. So I said, anyway, she will clear it up. So what's the problem in it? He said, no, I'm not saying that. I want to look at the spoon very carefully. I said, okay. And then he says, the spoon stirs kheer almost daily, but it never tastes even a drop of it. रोज खीर में डूबा रहता है, खीर को कभी चख नहीं पाता. And I was just like that. Kya? What do you mean? And then he said, don't become the spoon. Be the tongue that dares to taste. सिर्फ और सिर्फ वो चम्मच बन के मत रह जाना इस दुनिया में. You know why? The previous night I was talking about renunciation. The previous night I was saying I should leave everything and go away and this and that. And he said, don't be the spoon. You know why I keep on saying that you should not be running away from your responsibilities? This was the story. And that day, when he's narrated, he just said that don't become just the spoon, become dare to be the tongue that tastes everything. Dare to be the one who is in this world in spirituality and yet living in this world. Do you dare to be that tongue? You know what is the beauty of the tongue? It stays among 32 enemies, which can tear it apart any moment, but they cannot harm it. But if it slips one time, all the 32 will be out. किसी तगड़े इंसान के सामने कुछ गलत बोल दिया और उसने एक लगा दिया तो 32 ही बाहर. Yes or no? And even have you noticed one beautiful thing about your tongue? It tastes everything but attaches to none. कितना घी खा लो, कितना तेल पी लो, कभी आपका टंग ऑयली ग्रीसी लगेगा? नहीं लगेगा. क्यों? He said, like, become like that tongue. Be in this world. Taste everything. Attached to nothing. जुड़े रहो, बंधे मत रहो. Stay connected, not tied up. Is it worth a teaching? Isn't it? So, that very moment, the moment he said that be that tongue and be daring to taste. And after that, he did not say anything more. Because he did not have to tell anything more beyond that. Throughout the day, I was thinking like how to be that tongue rather than just the spoon. And that night of Shivratri, I sat down. I sat down to chant, not to complete a ritual that I had to complete, but to taste the nectar. That night, I wept. I wept not out of guilt, not out of fear, but in complete surrenderness. Because for the first time, I was doing the chanting of Shivratri and I was not a spoon dipped in that nectar. I was the tongue experiencing the divine bliss. And that was a night when I realized how beautiful it is. And I also realized at times, don't forget to be a spoon as well. At times, you have to service. Just like the silverware. And at times, you have to be daring to be that tongue. And that's what he taught me that night. And that's why I say, don't stay away from that. Be in it, learn it, overcome that. So let me ask this question to you. Have you become so busy that you have become a spoon while forgetting to experience whatever is there in your path? Or rather, I can say, are you stirring the kheer of spirituality without ever even drinking that? Simple stories, one-liners. And that's what I said. Those are like the moments of eureka. I don't know how and what it means to you, but now as I'm narrating to you, I can actually see what helped me become what. कौन सी बातें ऐसे जुड़ गई मेरे जीवन के साथ, कौन सी बातें मुझे इस दिशा में लेके चली गई, कौन सी बातें which kept me away from the illusions. And I think these are the stories. It's already time. 7 बज गए. As we say, no, time for breakfast. What should we do? Shall we continue stirring the kheer or experience it? Will you only listen to what my JJ said, or you are going to experience that in your life, is what I want to know. I have told you 6 stories by now. 4 more to go. Shall we continue? Or you want these stories to settle down within you? You work on this. You remember this. How many of you remember what were the stories? What was the first one? You can type it. पहला कहानी क्या था? Now, phone a friend. Clay diya, of course. That was the first one. What was the second one? Boat. बिल्कुल नहीं भूलोगे. रुद्राक्ष रखा हुआ है और मंत्र लिखे हुए एक जहाज के ऊपर. Then, what was the third one? डालडा का डब्बा. The box. Then, अंधकार भरा गुफा. The dark room, the dark cave. The darkness is not outside. And then you become the one with 1,000 eyes. शताक्षी बन जाते हो आप. शताक्षी देवी है ना? So you worship Shatakshi Devi. So similarly, you also become that. So what was the last one? Bowing to the Guru. And after that? Be the tongue, not the spoon. Yeah, you wonderful students. सब कुछ याद रखे हो. मुझे पता नहीं था कि मैं अगर स्कूल में ऐसे पढ़ाता था तो बच्चों को कितना फायदा होता था. How well they could have remembered. I thought like if I would have had a guru like me in my school, at least I would have been a brighter student. But anyways, I learned it's not about the brightness outside. ये बाहरी चकाचौंध की दुनिया से कुछ लेना देना ही नहीं है. The shine should be within. So I give you a homework today. I'll let you go now. The 4 stories can wait for next week. So don't worry. कहीं नहीं जाने वाले, आ जाएंगे. And the secret would be during the question and answer session, if somebody says, what were those four left out stories? Then I'll be bound to tell you. इसे कहते हैं कि सम टेस्ट पेपर्स कहते हैं ना, तो पहले ही बता दिया जाता है कि यही यही क्वेश्चन गिर सकता है. So now, if possible, I don't know, like, because many of you still worry that you don't write, you are not able to write in the right possible ways, or, but I want you to do one thing. All these 6 stories that you heard today, what was the best one you liked? Or rather, I can say, what did you liked about it? Even you can merge all the 6 stories and tell. I would love to hear that. I would love to see that what you have heard, what you have learned. Because that will give me an idea what you are going to teach to the next generation. Because whether you like it or not, I will make you like me. That day when you are standing and people are bowing down to you, what will you say? वही कहोगे जो हमारे जे हमारे दादा गुरु ने कहा था. And you know what? I never considered him as a guru in a manner that we say. But when I remember all these stories, he should be a guru. इसीलिए हम दादाजी को कहते हैं ना कि दादा गुरु. So that's how it was. And yes, one thing that I would like to tell here is the groups that I am making now. The groups for India and the groups for the US and UK, because I have to merge US and UK at one go for now. How shall we do that? Because once you all are ready, because I'll just create the group of people, those who were filled up the form and they were interested in doing that. I don't know what happened to other people. They are sleeping or they drifted away, might be. Does not matter. The thing is, how shall we proceed? We can proceed it in 2 ways. In India, it has to be done. Again, because I could not complete what I started and the time was not enough for me. And truly, I was not happy what I did. I don't know about others, but I didn't felt like. So a complete day, one more time it will be done. And also for the US and UK people, shall we do it online? The other way is you all fly here. Now people will say that's what exactly we want to do. But you have schools, colleges, offices, responsibilities. Or else I can do one thing. If you will, I am going to fly there then. Then you all come to one single space and give me a 1 full day so that I sit among you. And then we do the same process along with you. I think all that I need would be, I don't know how to go there. It's some letter is needed or something or whatever. I think like Deepika ji has worked on it for a long time. All of you decide like how it is, how it can be done, or else don't worry. We can still do it online. But I only doubt it in one way, because on that day when we were doing it, even in the physicality, I could not, I could say in this way, I could not give what I wanted to give completely. So I wanted to you all to grasp it in such a beautiful way that you become that. Because I'm not trying to just pass on another mantra or pass on another story to you. It should be your experience. Anyways, I'm going to create the group. Haribhai, if you can please create the group today itself.
Yes, Maharaj.
So that we will see who all can be, like, see, it is very simple. All the people, those who have registered from the outside, we have kept their name separately. We will create that group today and everything will be start communicating through that group only. Okay. So we will talk in that and let's find out a way how to do that. If me visiting there is not possible, it's not happening in the recent time. We will do it online. We will not stop. We will start it somewhere. Is it okay? And the people in India, those who have missed it out, or you still have one more chance, I believe. So the dates will again be told, and so it is not going to be the decoration and all those things. It's just going to be as simple as possible. Because this was one gift that I wanted to give all of you this Guru Purnima. So let's see how it happens, what happens next. Okay. So Hari bhai, please create the group today and we will talk in that group.
Yes, Maharaj. Yes, Maharaj.
And thank you each and everyone for making this Guru Purnima again amazing. And it's all because of your efforts. It's all because of you people. It could have been done. But this time people came to realize one thing. इस बार गुरु पूर्णिमा किसी और के लिए था. बस पूजा बहुत सारे गुरुओं की पहले हुई. So we'll come to that space anyways. Are you ready to get into that journey now is the question. I have asked the people, those who were there in the group on that day. How about others? You want to stay in that kneeling position forever? And yes, there is another group that will be created. The Sanchalak that are of India, the Sanchalak that are of US and UK, and there will be some people, because I know उनके लिए उस तरीके की साधना और उस तरीके का चीजें करना मुश्किल है. Might be because of their age, because of all the things that they are going through. For them, it is another group. It is a group of people, those who will do the chantings for us. Don't worry, you are not losing anything. जो कर सकते हैं उनको करना पड़ेगा, जो नहीं कर सकते उनके लिए मुझे करना पड़ेगा. So think which is better. बट ऐसा मत करना कि सारे बोझ मेरे ऊपर ही डाल के चुपचाप बैठ जाओ. Okay. So anyways, thank you everyone for listening to my crazy childhood stories. So now you know a little bit more about me. तो हमेशा पूछते ना बचपन में आप क्या थे, कैसे थे, ऐसा था. Few more stories are there that will come up, and if I'll try to recall more, because only 4 are there, because मैंने सिर्फ 10 choose किए थे. If I recall few more, I will also add that, so that a complete session happens. Okay. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सभी का. आभार है आपके कि आपने वो आत्मा जो चली गई है उसकी आवाज आज भी आप सुन पा रहे हो. ये तभी मुमकिन है जब आप हो. कृष्ण आए और गए जो शरीर के हिसाब से अगर आप देखो तो उनका अवतार तो चला गया, लेकिन अभी भी उनकी वाणी गूंज रही है. इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ यू. शिव ने पार्वती को कभी कथा सुनाई थी, लेकिन अभी भी उसकी आवाज अगर गूंज रही है, इट्स बिकॉज ऑफ यू. हाउ स्पेशल यू मस्ट बी. है a time to change gears, and that's where we always, our Sanatan Dharma sings, asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kashid dukha bhag bhavet. May you become that light for this world. Till we meet again in this Q&A session, I will be looking forward to listening to your stories, or rather my stories in your words, or rather JJ's stories in your words. And I was actually thinking to create a series of JJ stories. Might be these stories in 10 small reels. I think that would be great to reach out to kids. You have seen, like, I've started creating videos, like how it goes. So thank you everyone. for your time, your efforts. And yes, of course, your inspiration. It's you because of whom I have to create the reels also, because you like it. Okay. So thank you. Hari bhai, all yours. Before I just go, let me remind Aham Brahmasmi Tattvamasi. हर हर महादेव। बोलो बांके बिहारी लाल की जय। बोलो बरसाने वाली, बरसने वाली प्यार भरी राधा की जय। बोलो लाडली जू की जय। So we meet again. Till then, stay God, be God.